This week's manga chapter of One Piece, the Versus 4 Emperor arc begins, and Jack the Drought gets a taste of his own medicine. Can you hear that, my friends? That is the hype train in the distance, building up the next big arc of the One Piece series. Before I get into this week's chapter, I just want to mention that they made a big deal about the next arc getting ready to go down in the One Piece series. It has an official name, the Versus 4 Emperor's arc, and it's also been heavily implied that this could very well be the final arc of One Piece, or at least an arc that leads to the finale of the series. I don't think that's the case quite yet. I still think that there's a lot more in the One Piece world to learn about, but the fact that we're going to be taking on the 4 Emperors is a pretty big deal. And this week's chapter was a lot of fun. In fact, it actually opened up with this big color page, which I think was frankly fantastic. Basically, a lot of the key One Piece characters from this arc done in this old Japanese style painting. I especially love the look of Luffy in his Gear 4th form, which actually fits this style perfectly because of all of his crazy kabuki poses. So I really dug that a lot. I also love the teddy bear looking Tony Chopper, just really goofy looking. So this week's chapter of One Piece was very simple, very fun, and frankly, very satisfying, especially the last couple panels of this week's chapter, where Zunisha the elephant starts to kick some ass. So you got Jack the Drought, who's coming in with his cronies, and they are just completely demolishing Zunisha, the giant elephant, with cannonballs, aiming for the legs, trying to knock this thing over so that they can get to the head and kill it Legolas style. And then you have the Mink Tribe, Ino Arashi, Nekomamushi, Luffy, and all of the Straw Hat Pirates just running around desperately trying to figure out what the hell is going on, when suddenly both Luffy and Momonosuke start hearing these weird voices inside of their heads. And that's when they realize that they're actually being talked to by the giant elephant Zunisha. And Zunisha is actually saying, I need your permission to attack these guys. The reason that I walk around the ocean all the time is because in the past, I did something really bad and I've been forced to walk the oceans forever. However, this would be the perfect opportunity to take out Jack's team, and I just need your help in order to pull that off. Luffy and Momonosuke agree, and that's when Zunisha gets in there and completely just demolishes Jack's entire fleet, all in one swing of its massive trunk. This is a really surprising scene because not only is his fleet destroyed, it looks like Jack has taken a lot of damage from this attack. You can actually see that he's knocked back, the weird grill on his face has been broken, he's got blood coming out of his nose and mouth, so he has clearly been very hurt by this, and if he falls into the ocean, he's pretty much screwed. He's a devil fruit user, and can you just feel the irony of Jack the Mammoth getting killed by a mammoth elephant? The big thing to take away from this scene is that both Luffy and Momonosuke can hear Zunisha. There were also 2 other famous characters in the One Piece series who apparently could hear Zunisha, but could not properly communicate with the elephant. And that, of course, was Goldie Roger and Odin, the leader of the Wano Kingdom. This is, of course, here to illustrate that Luffy himself is destined to become the Pirate King, and, of course, Momonosuke is the son of royalty. That's Christian calling me right now. What's up, Christian? Welcome to my review of One Piece. The elephant did fuck him up. That's right, Christian. Yes. Yeah. So, hey, since you're right here now, do you want to give your score for this week's chapter? Christian gives this one a 5 out of 5. He really liked seeing that elephant kick ass. I really gotta learn to put my phone on silence. And so after the defeat of Jack's fleet, Luffy and his crew get ready to go on their adventure to save Sanji, but not before asking for an assload of food. However, there is still one final panel in this week's chapter, which is pretty interesting. It looks like communicating with Kaido is none other than Scratchman Apu. The evidence is all there, his weird keyboard-looking teeth on the snail phone, not to mention his very obvious speech pattern. What's really strange about this is that they actually confronted Kaido when he fell out of the sky, and it looks like they sort of been wrangled into his crew, probably whether they like it or not. I can't wait to learn a little bit more about this uneasy alliance. So what's the rundown on this week's chapter of One Piece. This one was fantastic, with a great cliffhanger ending with Scratchman Apu and the elephant kicking all sorts of ass and proving that it's really freaking powerful. This thing is crazy. I loved all of the panels this week where it was attacking Jack's fleet, in particular that very first big one where it swings its trunk out. It looks so incredibly large and intimidating and so destructive. The amount of damage that it caused with one massive swing just destroying the entire fleet is very impressive. Some other big things about this chapter is Momonosuke and Luffy being able to communicate with these animals. This is a really big deal. I'm not sure if this has something to do with hockey or anything. I mean, we've seen multiple events in the series with Luffy interacting with giant beasts before, but this is on an entirely new level that we've ever seen, and I think that's pretty freaking awesome. Other than that, this was still a pretty simple chapter, basically just all of the characters running around trying to figure out what to do, how to help out the elephant, when suddenly the elephant starts talking and decides to wreck some shit. Really, this is a build-up to the next arc, but at least it did it with a lot of gusto and some pretty cool action and some damn good artwork. Like I said, that panel of Zunisha the elephant just immediately destroying the fleet looked so awesome. I really loved it. I also like the fact that it has actual eyes that like sort of pop out from the darkness. Gives it sort of another creepy element to this creature. I'd like to learn a little bit more about the history of the island of Zou, but frankly, I'm also ready to start going into the next stuff because there's so many possibilities. The fact that this is a big arc which has had a lot of fanfare behind it just gets me very excited to see what they're going to do this year in One Piece. This was an exciting chapter right here with some great action, some pretty cool revelations, and a great cliffhanger ending. I loved this one. Now, Christian gave this week's chapter a 5 out of 5, and frankly, I have to agree with him. I absolutely loved this chapter, not just for the action, but for a lot of these smaller moments. I loved some of the humor in this chapter, which you kind of have to look for, like when everybody's running away with Luffy immediately running, you have Nami who's actually holding on to his head as his neck stretches as he's trying to escape. It's a lot of little moments like that that always make One Piece really fun to read. There's all these little hidden things in the background that you can always try and find. That and of course the action just kicked all sorts of ass. And Scratchman Apu, it's so strange that him and Basil Hawkins and Eustace Kid were probably presumably defeated by Kaido, or they were forced to end up working with him, or this was all a plan so that they could go after Shanks. There's so many mysteries that are going on in this arc right now, and it's always made it a really intriguing read. So, great artwork, cool action, awesome humor, cliffhanger ending, 5 out of 5, solid-ass chapter of One Piece, my friends. Make sure and check it out. But I want to hear from you guys. Did you read this week's chapter of One Piece? Did you have a favorite scene? What did you think of Luffy and Momonosuke being able to communicate with this massive elephant? And what's the deal with Jack the Drought? Was he really defeated by one swing of a massive elephant trunk? Are we going to see the return of this character? What do you want to see from the Versus 4 Emperors arc? Make sure to tell me in the comment section below. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you for watching this review. I really appreciate it. Make sure to share it with your friends and make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you'll be able to see all of our latest anime and manga reviews. Speaking of anime reviews, we're getting ready to enter the 2016 anime season, which means we're going to have a lot of brand new shows. I'm going to be looking at a ton of them. A lot of them are going to be coming out tomorrow and over the course of the weekend and the coming weeks, so make sure to stay tuned to the channel to see all the brand new reviews that are coming. But if there is an anime series that you guys want me to look at and review, please tell me your suggestions in the comment section below. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby!